This is 7 News High School Red Zone Review Preview.
Hi everybody, welcome aboard. So good to have you with us on this Thursday night. We're getting ready for the first night of action in November on a Friday, and the high school red zone will be week number 12. That means playoffs. On the show, we'll get you set for some of the matchups, and also we'll hear from a coach who's had his team turn things around big time this year, get them back to a championship level that they've known over the years. Stay tuned for that. It's upcoming, but let's first look back on the action. The coach we're going to talk to guides the champs of Region 2-5A, the Dorman Cavaliers, who simply had to win at Eastside last Friday, and they would have their first region championship in a number of years. Well, that touchdown by Nick Means, part of an offensive attack that included Meek Slidell hooking up with Corey Cole, and a 21-0 lead in the opening quarter against the Eagles. Dorman was trying to make it 10 out of 11 and 8 in a row going back to 1980. Isaac Tate with a big run set up another TD, and the Cavaliers cruise on till they get the region championship. Bring that home for the first time this decade as they knocked off Eastside 49-12. That followed their huge win the week before against the Gaffney Indians. Speaking of the Tribe, they were trying to continue their dominance in their series with Wade Hampton and send the Generals to a 24th consecutive loss. Josiah Hill, he's really emerged ever since they lost Jaden McDowell, their top running back, in the opening game of the year. That made it 7-0. In the second quarter, still 7-zip, Justin Dawkins with a touchdown for the Indians. They close out the regular season at 7-3, finished in second behind Dorman at 6-1, as Gaffney got a shutout 39-0. Wade Hampton ended up scoring just 39 points in region play. Gaffney moving on to the postseason as they get set to get a visit from another Greenville County school, J.L. Mann, on Friday night in the high school red zone. There's Reggie Shaw of the Burns Rebels after their resounding win against Spartanburg the prior week. They were playing to get a bye in the opening round of the 5A Division I playoffs. Emory Logan of Boiling Springs fumbling, and Aiden Wiggins coming up with it. Found daylight, and there he goes, a 28-0 lead with a hard shot on the end as they were approaching halftime. Later on, Tamaje Williford taken down by Jonathan Montgomery, who loses his helmet. Then back on offense, Kane Rogers to Trey Segura, 69-yard connection, a 35-0 lead. A 7th straight win for Burns over Boiling Springs. In this century, Burns has won 24 of the 25 meetings, and they get a bye in the opening round of the upcoming playoffs with that win 42-14. And the Spartanburg Vikings playing yet another game without their star running back, the injured Trenton Lynch. They got all they could handle from the Riverside Warriors, a team they had beaten in all 12 previous meetings. Look at the nice grab for the touchdown by Kendarian Keenan on the pass from Trey Burke, made it 14-7 in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, Spartanburg was up by a point. Riverside's Tyven Grady gives his team a lead, 19-14. Later on in the fourth, Burke hooking up with Kevian Ferguson, 20-19. Spartanburg. Riverside had a late field goal chance but couldn't convert a 32-yarder. Ruben Landrum led the Vikings with 178 yards on the ground in place of Lynch. And Spartanburg, a 13 straight win over Riverside. More importantly, getting a 6th win on the season, 20-19. But they now will get set for postseason play, hoping that one of their best weapons, Lynch, can get back in the fold. And Riverside gets ready to go take on Hillcrest in 5A Division II. Well, another action, it was an all-out championship game last Friday at the home of the Ware Shoals Hornets in uncharted territory, trying to continue their best start since 1988. That's the last time they had an unbeaten regular season. They went by air early on against mighty Abbeville. Jaden Johnson and Brennan Good for the 8-0 lead on the Panthers, but Abbeville has found itself down in games early this season and no trouble at all. Jamarian Williams on the ensuing kick goes coast to coast. That's a 76-yarder. 2-point conversion, tied it at 8. Williams later gets the ball in the end around. Here he comes. That's going to make it a 15-8 Abbeville lead. Panthers trying to make it 12 in a row against their neighbors to the north. Johnson early in the second quarter powers himself 5 yards for the touchdown. Hornets went back on top 16-15, but Abbeville, an impressive performance once again. Darius Riley, 51 yards. They made the 2-point conversion and they cruise on to another victory. Ware Shoals has not beaten Abbeville since 1989. That trend continues as Jamie Nichols' Panthers win yet another region game, their 50th in a row, and they win another region title, their 10th straight.
That's what this time of year is all about, is can you handle adversity in a tough environment. Hats off to Ware Shoals, very well coached football team. Their kids play hard. You see that on film. I'm just really proud of the way our kids overcame adversity tonight.
Well, adversity now could confront them in the postseason. Can his team make another run? They have had quite the impressive stretch of state championship runs since 2010. And under his leadership, they are looking to bring home another trophy for Abbeville. BHP, like Ware Shoals, began the final night of the regular season last Friday as an unbeaten. Noah Thomas goes upstairs to Tajay Watson-Martin. What a fine receiver he is, and Thomas having just a great year throwing the football for a team that's always had a potent running game. Thomas later to who else? Watson-Martin. Belton Honeypath cruising past Walhalla. Going back to 1979, they've won 20 of the 22 meetings. Got a 6-game winning streak in the series, 62-7 the final. BHP closing out as the only unbeaten area team in the regular season, 10-0 and #1 in 3A as they head on to the postseason. Daniel and Greer got together at Dooley Field in Greer with the Region 2-4A title on the line. A Lions win would give it to them outright, and no trouble at all for Jace Gross and the Lions. That touchdown in the third quarter puts his team up 27-7. Big story on the night, the Daniel defense, 6 sacks in all. Chris Stone, the first-year head coach, able to claim another championship for the program, and well, one for himself, if you will, 33-7.
I don't know. I mean, I just love to see the kids be able to experience that, and honestly, I've never had one. You know, so it's a cool experience to see that, like, we do the right things, we get the right guys on the field, you know, really good things can happen.
His daughter kind of looked a bit afraid. I mean, it's just a camera and a microphone and dad talking football. Anyway, another celebration for Daniel year after year. They tend to win their share of region championships. Maybe they've got a run in 4A upcoming. Region 3-3A was already Woodruff's, but they were trying to continue a winning streak against Union County and close out the year with just 1 loss on the season. Get to 9-1, and Aiden Gibson, their star junior, puts them up 8-0 against the Yellow Jackets. Gibson later on fighting his way in for another touchdown, and Woodruff rolled on to an impressive win, 43-6, 9-1, heading to postseason play at home against that Walhalla team that BHP knocked off. In Region 1-5A, Hannah trying to claim the outright crown. What a game they had at Greenville. What had been a reeling Red Raiders team. They hit some bumps after a 5-game winning streak. Trip Bryant at quarterback to Keyshawn Farrow had been playing quarterback. Later on, Bryant getting into the end zone. And then Jamarian Boston returning fire for TL Hannah that tied it at 7. Greenville took the lead in the closing seconds by 3, 24-21. The ensuing kickoff is fielded, and there's the sprint. Caden Morrell runs it all the way back. The winning points, a walk-off kickoff return. Time expired as he ran back to the end zone, and Hannah pulled out a miraculous win, 27-24, as they close the regular season at 9-1, 7-0 in the region with that win and also the 1-pointer against Greenwood. What a victory that was. Hillcrest, meanwhile, trying to shore up its position behind Hannah and Greenwood, trying to get a 7th win on the year. Jackson Free and crew going at it against Woodmont. Rams went for a 17-straight win. What a catch by Reed Collier, coming down with it for the touchdown and extending the lead in the 4th quarter to 38-0. Kyle Jackson later gets the fortuitous bounce. It's a 69-yard pick 6 for that Ram defender, and Hillcrest rolling on to another win against Woodmont. So they now get ready for a battle against Riverside. I think it's going to be a really good game in 5A Division II, and we're going to preview that matchup coming up in just a bit on the show. Now in the 5A ranks, you can get a bye in the opening round of the playoffs, and the Dorman Cavaliers are among those who have won. Just 2 losses this year, one in a walk-off 50-yard field goal in the rivalry against Spartanburg. They fell by 3 in that. The other in overtime by a point to a really good Greenwood team. But it has been a turnaround season for a program that had had some bumps and some rare turnover at the top earlier this decade. But Jake Morris, a former Cavalier player, now in charge. And I had a chance to talk with him as he takes a breath during a bye week about what they've achieved so far this year and what could be to come. Get a break as you kind of evaluate who you're going to play. I assume on Friday night you're going to have the guys scouting both future opponents, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you do right now. You got a time to get healthy and then try to figure out who you're going to play. It's going to be the winner of the Clover and Blythewood game, so both good coaches there and both good teams, so we'll see how it goes.
What's come together for you this year? The defense has been phenomenal. You're allowing like 10 points a game. Offensively, the running game I think has been the signature. But what are some of the things that you're happiest with in terms of the growth this year?
I think our players, our players have owned our identity, which is choose hard and the grit of what we try to build this program on, and they've done a good job with that. And obviously defensively we've been really good. Offensively we've been consistent. We're playing complementary football, and the guys are buying off of it.
You had a new quarterback coming in, so I would think going into the season maybe there was a little bit of apprehension as to how the offense could work. How has that grown to be as efficient as it has?
Well, I think Meek came in first and got to know the players, and he fit in the locker room really well, and I think that's the most important thing that he can do. And then he learned our offense, and he got comfortable in our offense, and then we got more confidence in him. He got more confidence in us, and I think that's kind of how that works. That can go either way, but he's done a great job with that, and we've leaned on him a lot here late.
How much does it help to have a two-headed monster out of that backfield? And even the third kid, Curtis's son, has been very good. But, I mean, it looks like the running game's been really good.
Running game's been great. It starts up front. Offensive line's played well, and they keep getting better each week. Then you got Nick, and you got Isaac, and you got Carter Nash, all three coming in. So you got three good backs that can feed off each other, and that helps. When you can do that and you can eat the clock and you can control the ball, that helps us defensively, and it helps us in offense also.
From a defensive standpoint, you knew you had a generational player in the secondary, but you probably were confident that some other guys could step up. Has the group maybe stepped up more than you could ever have imagined?
Yeah, I think so. We felt we'd have a really good box, and those guys have exceeded our expectations. Christian Waring's playing really well. James Porter's playing really well. Zay Meadows, Jordan Darby, linebackers. So we feel really good about those guys, and they've had a great year for us. And when they can disrupt things up front, then it helps our secondary.
Because there's maybe no one who knows this program more over the past couple of decades than you. What's your feel? I mean, do you feel like Dorman's back to where it's been when you were either a player or on the staff here?
I like the feel of our program. I like where we're going right now. We got a healthy program coming up with our young kids too. So, I feel really good about where we are, but we got to take it a game at a time. And this is playoffs, and you never know what can happen in this playoff division.
But probably in your 3 years, the most confidence you've had heading into the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is the group that we focused on when we took over here and building around these group. We know that we're going to be good, and they've exceeded what we expected them to do.
We'll give them a break on the cliche of one game at a time. Well, coming up, there may be no breaks on the field Friday night in Simpsonville when Riverside pays a visit to Hillcrest. That should be a good one in the 5A ranks. We preview it just ahead on the Review Preview. I'm on the Week 11 action. Broome and Chapman playing for playoff positioning. A couple of longtime Spartanburg County rivals doing battle. Well, Bryson Cothran for the Panthers hooking up with Keelan Tucker for a touchdown. Chapman trying to get a second win of the year and make it 11 straight in the series, but they couldn't answer Tyquan Booker. Nice long run, set up a touchdown. Booker and Broome pulling it out on the road against Chapman, 36-33, finally snapping their losing streak against the Panthers and getting to 500 on the year. Both Broome and Chapman headed to the playoffs. Chapman goes in at 1-9. They play at Southside Christian. Broome's home in what I think will be a pretty good game coming up on week number 12 Friday night in the high school red zone against Pendleton. That should be a pretty well-balanced game in 3A. And I also think Riverside, despite their struggles in Region 2-5A this year, should be a tough out for Hillcrest as the Warriors visit the Rams in a battle of Greenville County teams separated by only about a 20-minute drive or so. That's a 5A Division II showdown. Here's Todd Summers with a preview.
It's a new season, right? 0-0, okay? Everything that's happened before you, right? None of that really matters anymore.
From this point forward, it is win or go home.
This Hillcrest, it's playoff time, it's win or go home. It's do or die. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
All the work in the spring, summer, and first 10 games of the fall leads up to this.
That's why you do all the all-season workouts, all the summer, everything. Right, this is where it gets fun.
Everybody remembers November. A couple years ago before I got here, playoffs weren't thought of too much. It was kind of like you're hanging it up after game 10, and it's just a special time.
At 7-3, Hillcrest has earned home field advantage against 4-6 Riverside. But the programs realize regular season records don't matter now.
I see a really good football team. I'm telling our guys, don't pay attention to the record, watch the tape.
We're not finna underestimate anybody just because of the record. We finna go out there and we finna give it 1,000%. We finna go out there and try to get this W.
Our record does not show who we are at the end of the day, I truly think, and a lot of people are going to see that through this playoff run we're about to have.
Both the Rams and Warriors won a playoff game last season, but for one of these teams, that will not be the case this season.
I'm just coming out here not taking anything for granted. Every rep, every play, every snap. I'm just taking it all serious. This could be my last ever week of football.
They could beat us. We got to take them serious. On this time of the year, it's starting to get cold, starting to really get football weather, and it's just time to kill or go home.
I'm quite direct in that thought there, so that should be a really good game. Tell you, not far from Simpsonville, just down Highway 14 in Fountain Inn, it should be a good battle. Fountain Inn and Emerald meet again. Just a couple of weeks ago in the Lakelands, Fountain Inn rallied and won a shootout against the Vikings. Well, last Friday, the Vikings found themselves in a position that if they didn't win, they'd have to go home against Lawrence. Winner-take-all game, despite the fact Emerald went in at 4-5, Lawrence just 1-8. Bo Height able to find Zamar Jones. Trouble is, he wears the other jersey. That's an interception and a short return. Then, a few plays later, Logan Bragg to Braden Yarborough. Takes it deep into Viking territory. Eventually, they were knocking on the door. Look at the yards after the catch by Yarborough. Eventually, they got to 4th and goal, and the defense for the Vikings steps up. They eventually got the victory, and as a result, got themselves a trip to Fountain Inn in the upcoming playoffs. 23-17, the final score as Emerald got the win. Meanwhile, in Region 2-3A, Powdersville with the region championship in hand was trying to run the table, get a win against St. Joe's, still without their fine running back Mac Rambo. Kagan Reed and Bennett Brooks on that 37-yard connection. Powdersville built its lead in the second quarter to 28-14. Reed later with a quarterback keep, and Powdersville goes 8-2 on the year and a second straight region championship, and they have taken 5 of the last 6 in that region. How impressive they have been doing what they have done as Powdersville has the crown once again without a loss in region play. Pendleton, we mentioned they've got a showdown coming up against Broome in Spartanburg on Friday night in the high school red zone. Well, they were battling a very good Crescent team. Bulldogs on the home field. Jackson Allman connecting with Bray Spear. Makes a long run, only get taken out by a couple of Crescent defenders. Then Allman connecting with Zy Collymore, and a 7-0 lead for Pendleton. Allman later hooks up with Deshaun Jenkins. And the defense for Crescent able to respond. In the end, Crescent gets the win. They've won 3 of the last 4 in the series. Tight battle, 28-21. Landrum and Chesney, Northern Spartanburg County rivals. And Landrum trying to snap a 5-game losing streak on the season. Chesney trying to close out the regular season at 500 overall. Braylon Revis with a nice early run, and then his number was called for a quick touchdown and a 7-0 Cardinals lead. But Cale Thrift, look at the power, dragging most of the Landrum defense with him on that run. Probably got about an extra 10, 12 yards with several opposition players grabbing him. Then Evan Reese-Lauder, a couple of plays after that, sprints to the house. They celebrated Halloween in style. Cheerleaders all decked out, so was the band. And Chesney makes it 5 out of 6 in the series. They get the win. Hope that's some momentum for them as they head on into the playoffs. They've got to go on the road, though, and play Fairfield Central. That will be no walk in the park for them. Meanwhile, in Western Highlands action in Western North Carolina, Hendersonville already with second place in hand in the conference, trying to pick up an 8th win on the season. Polk County's Brody Wilkins connecting with Styler Blackwell. That got him to the 2-yard line, setting up a score. Jiron Ward later fires. Nice PBU by Jesse Moore of Polk County. And then Wilkins connecting with Lorenzo Sanchez, his favorite back out of the backfield. That led to a touchdown. Wilkins later to Losange. Hendersonville, though, gets the win. They've won 5 out of 6. They finish 8-2. Polk County heads to postseason play at 3-7. Just some of the action we had for you on Week 11 in the High School Red Zone. When we come back, we'll relive some of the fun stuff, our plays of the week from week number 11. Just ahead on the High School Red Zone Review Preview. So the opening week of the playoffs at hand, week number 12 in the High School Red Zone. Again, if you look at the bracketing, a lot of potential lopsided battles. We mentioned Riverside Hillcrest should be a really good game. Emerald Fountain Inn in 4A should be good. Another really good game, I think, in 5A Division I. Malden plays host to Boiling Springs for the second time this season. Malden home for a playoff game for the first time since 1999. And earlier this year, in the week 1 of the season, which was the second week of play, they bumped off Boiling Springs 21-14. That was looked at as an upset at the time, but Malden ended up finishing the campaign at 5-5 after combining for just 3 wins in the previous 2 seasons. So Andre Cook's done a nice job turning around the Mavericks. I think that'll be a competitive game, as well as Broome and Pendleton. That should be a good battle as well, but we're expecting some lopsided games elsewhere. Let's close out this edition of the Review Preview with our plays of the week from week number 11. Starts out play number 5. Wren last Thursday fell in its region championship in Region 4A against Westside, but Jacob Owings, just a bruising hit right there as he was trying to cut back, turned it into some good yards and then some after taking a hit. That Wren Golden Hurricane ready for postseason play. Play number 4 from the Chesney win against Landrum. Cale Thrift, we just showed him. I mean, what power. Couple of hits after initial contact, pushes ahead with just about every Cardinal trying to grab on. A couple of blockers around him as well, but still, Cale Thrift, pretty strong play right there for the Chesney Eagles as he bowled his way for extra yards in their win in a battle of birds against the Cardinals of Landrum. Play number 3, back to last Thursday's game. Wren's Carson Bryant, check this out. He had big yards after a catch and he made close to the line of scrimmage and then drags a defender right along with him. Even though Westside got the win, Bryant wins that battle right there for the touchdown for Wren for play number 3. Play number 2, Boiling Springs trying to get back in the game as they trailed 21-0 in the second quarter against Burns. Aiden Wiggins right there to scoop up the fumble after it bounced all over the place. And what do you know? He's got a path to the end zone. A scoop and score. Took some time to develop, but Wiggins able to get it on in there for the TD for Burns. And play number 1, Kyle Jackson, right place, right time for Hillcrest against Woodmont. The pass is deflected straight up, and there was Jackson. A bewildered receiver for Woodmont didn't know what to do. Jackson got a pick 6 for play number 1. On Channel 7 at 11 o'clock Friday night, it is week number 12 of the high school Red Zone, recapping all the playoff action. 11:35, a full half hour on the CW62. Hope to see you on those channels on Friday night. Join us for that. For now, Pete Yanity saying so long, and we'll see you soon.